Well, a couple of people have said that I was getting a bit arrogant, but it's just because I feel beset, and it's befuddling. You know, because there's a lot of people saying there's no such thing as willpower. Okay, but then they still want to go, but human beings are the only one that have the illusion of it. It seems to me that if humans don't have willpower, but they can have the illusion of it, they can have this awareness and this illusion of awareness and of taking part. Why couldn't anything, right? It's not a real thing. It's an illusion. You don't have to really be sophisticated enough to be in control of yourself, because those people say we aren't, in order to have this perceptive feeling. Now, people are looking for things like, well, no, you have to have a neural system. Well, the way I see it is this. We see animal behavior. We're looking for it. We get all the way down to the protozoa. We still see an animal-like behavior, at least as much as a worm, and arguably more like an insect. You get all the way down there, and I see this motion. This is the thing that's odd. How is it that some matter doesn't just react passively like matter? It becomes involved. It's an illusion or not, it doesn't matter. How does that situation appear? So I'm looking at these protozoa and I'm going, well, it still has this motility and sense and reaction to its environment. So yeah, I'm looking for the similarity, and then lo and behold, it's a particular kind of cell that all animals and plants and everything are made of. So yeah, it could be something in common between us. It doesn't have to be the basal ganglia. It could be something we both have in common. There's some evidence that paramecia can learn. They definitely move and compute. There's definitely some, at least normal computational structure in there. They move around. I find it interesting that their cytoskeleton works as their muscular system. It works as a circulation system. It does the sensing. Cilia that detect light are made of microtubes. It does the moving. Cilia that are for moving are made of microtubes. I find that interesting. I find it interesting that in the paramecium, in the single cell, we can see what is seems to be at the core of this motion. I mean, didn't you ever wonder that when you're a kid? It's like it's a bag of jelly. How's that stuff being organized in there? How's the stuff being moved around? Is the DNA like alive and comes out and grabs things and moves them around? No. But the microtubules do that. So it seems to me a perfectly sensible theory, not that you have to believe it, but people are out there telling me, no. You know, of course, it's not conscious, like you would know. And I started by asking, what is consciousness? We don't know. But we know who doesn't have it. And the final thing is just like my misery me, who I've had a great conversation with on this. So, you know, I'm not complaining like you should say something else. I'm just saying it ends up being frustrating me. Talks about a meadow of flowers moving because the wind is blowing across it. As if that's the same as the way a paramecium moves. Like, we can't tell the difference. For the poetic philosophers out there, could you tell me what's going on? Because to me it looks like we have a bunch of people that don't understand any distinction between living and non-living. They aren't really acknowledging that scientists have figured out what's living, what's non-living. There's some reactions that make, oh, well, it is going on. Is a protein living? You know, there's a couple borderline cases, our viruses a lot, that you guys seem to be implicitly saying that's all bullshit. There is no way to tell the difference between a thermostat and an insect, between a field of flowers and a human brain. I think that there is. I think we can tell if something's alive, and it has to do with detecting this intentional agency, this urge for comfort or survival. It just looks to me like you want to be special, but if you follow the evidence, then you find out that you can be a little tiny sack of gel, 100th the time, the size of a period in a sentence, and have this motive behavior. That's surprising. That implies they have something like a brain. How else are they going to move around like they do without some sort of thinking apparatus? But it's not made of neurons. And finally, that's the final thing, is just that talking about consciousness, it's funny how much people hook that to pain. I've said for a long time, years probably at this point, that there's such a thing as a pain neuron, right, in mammals and other animals, but we'll just stick with the mammals. And if you don't have that, you don't feel pain the way somebody with the pain neuron. What we think of as pain is that particular signaling path. I don't think plants have pain. I think they do have stress. Right? They have there's an analogous function there, just like they have digestive systems and whatnot that are not like ours, but they are analogous. It has a sense and motor system, and its brain seems to be distributed throughout it in the form of the microtubules, reading from its book of law, the DNA. And I have not seen a distinction. You have to understand, when you guys just go, well, that they don't have it in insects. Well, by misreading me, it's like, well, the insects have it, but they don't have it at the single cell level. You're just arbitrarily choosing a point. Where is the discriminating factor?